Hey everyone, it's Jen from You So Much, and I'm here for another wine with Jen on a Wednesday wine with Jen. I forget what I even call this thing. Anyway, welcome. If you happen to be joining me, I'd love it if you would say hi in the chat box. I truly see this as just a fun happy hour with all of you, and so it wouldn't be nearly as much fun if you guys didn't show up to say hello. And I'm just here to gab about whatever's on my mind this week and enjoy some wine and show off some awesome wine that I love because I'm a big wino. I don't know if I'd say that because I don't know if I just would say I'm a wine connoisseur, a fan of the fermented grape. So today, I'm really excited to say happy holidays. It's now after Christmas, and then we're getting ready for the new year, and 2017 is almost over. Crazy. And so I found a new cool wine shop in our neighborhood. It's called the Mom and Pop Wine Shop, which sounds like this old like grandpa wine shop, but it's funny because my friend Sam called me a couple weeks ago and said, hey, I'm in your neighborhood, the Mom and Pop Wine Shop, and why don't you come on down and try some wine with me? And I was like, what? Hadn't even heard of this place. It's down across from the Safeway, not too far, like maybe like 12 blocks from here. And so I was like, sure, why not? I'm just going to get in my car and drive down there. Hey, Lily Ma, I see you're here. Welcome. Thanks for being here. And so I just drove my car down, and like a totally spontaneous moment. Like actually we were about to have dinner, but we were like a good half hour from having dinner. So I was like, I'm just going to go down and grab some wine with Sam and try this place. And they had a great selection of wines. And I found one of my new favorite wines that I just had to show off. And it's called the Pressing Plants, which is so appropriate, right? And what's really cool is this particular one is called Kick the Jams. It's a Pinot Noir, which is my fave. I love Pinot Noir. And the gal who makes it, you can tell there's like this label on there. It looks like a LP, like a record LP. And what's really cool is she herself used to work for the recording industry. So it basically says that she used to manage bands and worked for record companies in New York City. And now she's in Portland, and she makes wines that are inspired by music that she loves. So that's really cool. And what's really, really cool is she is like literally right in our neighborhood. Apparently she lives right here in the northeast section of Portland. So I was super excited to try it because I used to work in the music business myself, and obviously a fellow Portlander and, wine fan myself and music fan myself, had to give it a try. So I see we have J-Ryze in the chat box too. Welcome, Jay. So glad you're here. So I love it. What else is wine for? I totally agree. So this, I actually have to admit, is not, I've already opened the bottle. It's not fresh because I opened it last night and imbibed in a little wine and Netflix because, because it's super fun to do that. I was in the mood to relax after some stressful holiday stuff. So here we are with this Pinot Noir. Oh my gosh, this wine. Whenever I drink a wine that I really, really love, I call it candy wine because it has that flavor that just reminds me of like candy. It just like hits my taste buds just perfect. It's sweet and yet not too sweet, and it's just so good. So here we go. So good. So good. So yay. I thought it'd be fun today to talk about, you guys are gonna laugh at me a little bit about this one, but it is relevant to the time of year. I thought it'd be fun to talk a little bit about Selena Gomez. So the reason why is because she and Justin, you may have heard, she's been in the news recently because she and Justin got back together. And so it's like been all the rage that her and Abe from The Weeknd broke up. And I was in a conversation with my daughter about her recently because she was talking about how she's a huge fan of Selena's. And one of the things that, in fact, we even got her a tape, yes, a cassette tape for Christmas because my daughter's been driving around. In fact, let me show you. You guys are gonna laugh. This is it right here. True blue cassette tape of Selena's because the car that my daughter's driving around actually has cassette tape in it. So the only way she can listen to music from her iPod or her iPhone is she plugs in one of those cassette tapes that plugs into her iPhone. And so anyway, so she can play cassette tapes, but can't play CDs or anything else. And so has to be playing it through the cassette tape deck. And so anyway, we got her a true old fashioned one. So anywho, so we were talking about her and how she grew up, like she went through that phase where she loved Hannah Montana. We watched that on Disney Channel, and we watched The Wizards of Waverly Place, which is what Selena was on. She was the star of that show. And she also watched the Jonas Brothers, and I'm forgetting all the shows that she watched with all these stars that kind of grew up together. Demi Lovato was on the Disney Channel too. So anywho, but the only one that my daughter really likes now of all those people is Selena. She still really likes Selena, loves her voice, and isn't as much of a fan though of her music. She's like, finds some of it okay, but she feels like she could be so much better if she just followed her own instinct and wrote her own music, which I thought was a really interesting opinion, because I think Selena's probably, right now, singing songs that were written by other people, following advice from other people, and kind of her style that she's kind of come out with has kind of been a little bit inconsistent since she come out from the very beginning. So I think my daughter's kind of onto a point there that when you follow your own gut and you follow your own instinct, and you can do some things that, like some of your own creative expression, that can really take you to a whole new level. And I actually, when Selena first started singing, in fact, when she first started singing, I was kind of surprised, because she was in Wizards of Waverly Place, but didn't sing. Like a lot of the others, like Hannah Montana obviously sang on her show. The Jonas Brothers obviously sang on their show. Even Demi sang in a couple of the Disney shows she was part of, but Selena never sang. So I was really surprised. But I went to a Justin Timberlake concert in Vegas, and Selena was one of the guests that Justin had on stage singing. It was this concert he used to do called JT and Friends, something like that. And he would have, it was like a fundraiser, and he would have different artists come on stage with him. So we had a whole bunch of different people, and Selena came on stage, and I'm like thinking to myself, what is this Disney star that Denver has sung doing on stage? And it was probably one of her first big performances. I don't think she really even had a record out at that time. And so I was watching her thinking, you know what, she's actually pretty good. She has a really interesting, unique, kind of breathy voice to her, but obviously it was brand new. You could tell she was a little bit nervous being on stage singing, and now she's obviously a huge hit, I think, and has gotten so much publicity lately for all the health issues she's been through and has overcome. So she's kind of been her year. She's kind of had a big year where she like survived this kidney transplant, and now it's gotten back together with Justin. And so it's kind of fun. I'm going to see what you guys are talking about here in the chat box, because I've just been rambling on. Jay says that, yes, Toronto celebs, Bieber and The Weeknd in a love triangle. I know, right, Jay? When I have to say, when I found out Selena was dating Abe from The Weeknd, I was laughing, because I'm like, wait a minute, that is exactly the same city that Justin Bieber is from. They're both from Toronto, which I thought was kind of funny. Let's see what else. And Justin, and Jay also put a link in the chat box there with reference to an article about how Justin and Selena are back together. And it looks like it's from People magazine, and it goes back to their timeline from the beginning. So that actually looks really interesting. I'm very curious about that. I'm going to pull that up, because it is kind of interesting, right? I mean, I think, if you're just going to speculate a little bit without knowing Selena, knowing like all the details of her life, you can probably guess that, like, she went through this like life changing experience where she almost died, and now is a kidney transplant survivor, and maybe that changed her perspective. Like, she really wanted to be with someone that, life is short, and she wanted to be with someone that she really loved, right? And so maybe she's loved Bieber all along. There was all that drama that happened with them. Of course, if you listen to their music, and and as I'm sure that they have expressed some of their relationship issues through their music, right? Just like Beyonce and Jay-Z did too, right? Which I think is kind of a cool thing to do too. But I think Justin did that more than Selena did, because, as I was just saying earlier, like, she hasn't done a lot of her own writing, of her own music. And so it kind of makes me think a little bit of my own business. Like, you know, we can follow like advice from different people. Like I have a lot of different people who give me advice for different things. You know, Jay, you're one of my coaches. I have another sort of coach that I work with here locally that runs a mastermind group over at Pregame. I have, you know, some people there that give me advice now and again for different things. Ciara, who owns Pregame, she's kind of she considers herself to be more of a consultant and not a coach, which is an interesting distinction. I think it's kind of a good one because I think, as they say, coaches kind of ask you the right questions and help you come to your own conclusions, whereas consultants kind of tell you what to do, right? And so anyway, the point is like, you know, I have all these different people that I could be listening to and I could be taking advice from. And sometimes there's some similar advice and sometimes it's completely different, right? Completely like contrasting, or maybe somebody says something that just doesn't quite ring true to my gut. And so I think it'd be good if I listen to my gut rather than just taking advice of other people that maybe are giving good expert advice, right? So there's that balance though, because you could be doing all the right things. Like look at Selena. I mean, she's following advice for other people and, you know, singing other people's music, and yet she's still wildly successful. You can't say she's not a success. So it can't be all bad, right? Because the experts do have some knowledge, right, of what works and what doesn't work. So I'm curious what you guys think about that, about, you know, would Selena be a huge success if she was able to write her own music and do her own thing and maybe have her kind of a little bit more of her own style and expression rather than kind of being your typical candy pop singer, you know? I don't know. It's kind of interesting stuff. So I'm gonna, again, I can see you guys are chatting in the box. Looks like Lily Ma is back. Oh, and Sherry's here too. Yay, Sherry, welcome, welcome. I love it. And this is great. Looks like Lily Ma was eating some chips. I love it, Lily. I'm curious what kind of chips you're eating because I too am a huge chip fan. In fact, okay, we're gonna talk here about chips. I'm gonna like do a quick tangent for a minute. I'm very particular about chips. I really am a connoisseur of chips, and especially corn chips. Have I talked about this before? I feel like I might have. There's these organic chips by Tostitos, and there's just something about them that are so good. I can't describe it. These big chips, and they're salted just perfectly. And yes, they're organic, but it's funny because not every store in town carries them. They used to, and now you can only find them literally in one store in this town, I swear. Although I did recently discover Target carries them. Of all people, Target. So when I go to Target now, I'm looking for my favorite chips, these natural brands. It's kind of funny. But the point is that I'm a huge fan of chips, and I'm curious what kind of chips you're eating. And I also love potato chips too. And the other thing I've discovered recently, okay, this is such a major tangent here, is I've discovered these things called flackers. Instead of crackers, they're called flackers, and they're made of like chia seeds and flax seeds and all these great healthy grains that give you more fiber, because I think I mentioned on a couple episodes before about how I'm trying to increase my fiber because it's supposed to be really good to help you lose weight. And a lot of people in Europe eat way more fiber than we do. Obviously, you want to be eating fiber like with whole vegetables too. But this is another great way to get some fiber in to kind of help your system you know, process better. So anywho, so looking more in the chat box, looks like Jay is saying you give excellent advice. I agree. You give awesome advice. I love your advice. I think part of why you give such excellent advice, Jay, is because you listen to people and help people like bring out the things that are important to them, right? Like you help people follow their own guts, which is the whole point that we're talking about here. And Selena said, you're saying Selena just hired a songwriter. So maybe she wants to start writing her own song. And then he's saying the amount of people who graduate to hiring songwriters is massive. You'd be surprised. So interesting. So maybe she's going to be working with a songwriter. You know, when I was in radio, one of the things that was really cool that we got to experience is people, I think I've talked about this before, people would come in to the station and they would play music when they were just brand new, when they were like not very well known. And so the idea was they would really be playing to kind of get the radio station to play them more. And so they were primarily playing for the program directors, the program directors of each radio station are the ones who basically choose what music gets played on the radio. Of course, they sometimes have to, you know, work it out with corporate, and sometimes corporate has their own idea of what's going to be popular, because based on research, even though in my opinion sometimes that research is wrong, going back to what we're originally talking about right now, is sometimes the local program directors know a little bit more about our audience and what our audience loves here in Portland, because Portland is a unique market, as is, I'm sure, every market, right? So anyway, we used to have these artists come through when they were barely known, and they would play music for us. And it was really cool because we'd hear all these backstories about how they were writing their music and how they would, you know, join up with one person or another to collab on a song. And sometimes you wouldn't know this, because sometimes they wouldn't even mention that person as the writer on a song, or sometimes they would, but nobody else knew about it. The general public wouldn't know about it. They just thought that that artist was the one who wrote the song. And especially one of the things I definitely noticed a trend in was a lot of artists who were doing songwriting also were living in Nashville. So LA was always kind of like the hub, LA and New York, for a lot of music artists. And then it really began to kind of graduate more and more to Nashville, whereas Nashville for a while was kind of known only for the country artists. They ended up really, truly getting more than just country artists. They would get other artists that would move to Nashville who are interested in writing songs, because there were so many great songwriters in Nashville. And actually country is kind of known for amazing storytelling in their writing of their music, right? So going back to storytelling, Nashville's a great place to go. So I'm curious about, I'm going to look that up, Jay, on how Selena has hired a songwriter. That's kind of cool. I think it'd be cool if she started writing more of her own music. Let's see. Sherry is saying that Trader Joe's carries organic corn chips. And that's awesome. Though I bet it's not my favorite one, because Jay's asking, is that my favorite brand? And I don't think so, because my brand, I know it's Tostitos, which sounds like really cheesy, right? But they have this organic chip that is so good. And it's, like I said, it's hard to find. I even went yesterday to look for the chip, and they were out of it at the local store. Now, granted, we've had some ice here, and it's been crazy weather, and so a lot of the trucks haven't been able to deliver all the best foods in the world. So we had to buy the Whole Foods brand, which is, you know, it's not bad. It's not bad, but it's not my favorite brand. I'm telling you. And when I bring this to parties, or I tell people that I really like this chip, they always kind of laugh at me, and they'll sometimes buy it though for the party. Like, let's say I say, okay, I'm gonna, you know, Jen, I know that you have a favorite corn chips. I'm gonna go buy them for you. And then they have them, and they're like, wow, Jen, you were right. These are actually really good chips. So they're actually not a seasoned chip. So they're not like the nacho chips or like the ranch chips or whatever, that, which I think is disgusting. I don't know what it is about those kinds of chips. I hate those. But just plain yellow corn, organic corn chips are so good. And speaking of Trader Joe's, there's another kind of funny thing. I'm not a huge fan of Trader Joe's. I know I'm like one of the few people in the whole world. I like some of their stuff, right? And they've got great prices on stuff and organic stuff, but like some of their stuff is just weird and wonky, and they don't, like, you can't just go there and do all your grocery shopping there. I mean, you just couldn't. But they've got some cool, good stuff. They do have, they have an amazing prices on what they have. Like, they have the kind bars. They have great prices on wine. Sherry, you must be a good Trader Joe's fan. You must be a huge fan, because I know you were drinking $2 Chuck from Trader Joe's last time we were doing our Wednesday wine series. So yeah, and they have, I don't know, Sherry, if you've tried those, they have those pizzas. If you haven't tried them, you're going to love them, and you're going to be thanking me later. There are these pizzas that have caramelized onions and ham on them, and they're super thin. They're like the thinnest pizza I've ever had. And they actually don't have tomato sauce. So they're just kind of more like I don't know how to describe them, but they are so good. It's the caramelized onions, I think, that just like make it. And then the dough is like almost like a phyllo dough. It's like super, super thin. Oh my God, they're to die for. They're like, I keep them in my freezer. So like for those nights I come home late from dance and didn't have dinner, and I just want like something to eat. They're so good. So maybe I am a Trader Joe's fan after all, since I'm going off about how good those pizzas are. That's hilarious. Like, sounds plausible. I see Trader Joe's. I feel like Trader Joe's only carries Trader Joe's stuff. Like, they have all their own stuff. I mean, they have a few like world brands, like stuff that they import, but I feel like they don't carry. I feel like they don't carry the Tostitos brands. But maybe that's just what I've found. And Sherry says they have the rum, goddess of the rum. Are you kidding me? Okay, I'm confused about that because maybe it's just an Oregon thing. I didn't think Washington allowed you to buy liquor at the grocery store, but maybe they can. But Oregon's one of the few states that you can't buy. I can't buy rum or vodka or any hard liquor at a grocery store. You can't buy it there. You have to go to a liquor store. So Oregon has its own liquor stores that you go to. So it's like calling people out and going to the liquor store. And then we have our own, weed is legal here. They have like their own marijuana shops you can go to. So if you see somebody in the parking lot of either one of these stores, you know that they're, going to be imbibing. Versus where many other places actually sell them in the grocery store. So I'm curious. I for some reason thought you couldn't buy liquor in Washington grocery stores either, but maybe you can. Maybe I didn't know. Anyway, Jay is saying Wine Wednesday, maybe wine rum right now. Maybe on a future episode, I could find some recipe where you can mix wine and rum together. That sounds really weird. Or we could just make an exception and have rum instead of the wine, perhaps. Sherry is saying that she's going to check out the pizza she pulled off the road to join all of us. I love it. Thank you, Sherry, for pulling off the road. That's awesome. And they have all kinds of liquor. There's liquor everywhere, all the grocery stores. Okay, so Washington, you can have liquor at the grocery stores. That's fascinating. Now, I cannot wait now. Next time I'm up in Washington, I'm going to go to a Trader Joe's because I know what the liquor they're going to have at like a regular Safeway or whatever. But I'm curious about the liquor that they might have at Trader Joe's because it's probably a little different, just like their wine is. That's hilarious. And oh my God, Jay is putting a recipe in the chat box for for a cocktail recipe, which I'm assuming must have wine and rum in it. Okay. Also, random story. This is like the episode of Random Stories. That's what I have to call this one, the Random Stories episode. The general is like one of the few alcohols I really don't like to drink because when I was in high school, that was the one drink that I got really sick off of was rum. And so, you all have that experience. A lot of people, it's tequila. I love tequila. But rum was it for me. And I have a really hard time drinking rum. There's not many rum drinks I can really drink without feeling kind of sick. I do like spiced rum, though. Spiced rum has a different smell and flavor to me. And so I can have spiced rum, and it's so good. But regular rum, even in a fruity tropical drink, I have a real hard time with it. I still, to this day, I had a really bad experience. I won't go into detail, but it was not good. Not good at all. And you had eggnog wine for Christmas. Eggnog wine? Really weird. So I've had eggnog with rum. Okay, that is good. I do like that. And tonight you're drinking Diet Coke. Well, I guess you are on the road, so it would make sense for you to be drinking wine. I can't believe you pulled up the road and chat with us. That's so awesome, Sherry. That's fantastic. I love it. Are you drinking anything, Jay? I'm curious if you're drinking anything at all. It's just awesome. I was just looking back to see if Lily said if she was drinking anything with her chips, but I don't see all. I'm just now noticing, Jay, you're like, hey, Lily, Mom, let's get drunk. I love it. Oh, so good. So good. Yep. Okay, I missed that. I totally missed that whole little interaction between you and Lily about us getting drunk together as a threesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Well, okay. Jay is saying he drank Grey Goose vodka straight. Love it. I know you love the Grey Goose, and you also love the, what's the other brand you like? Belvedere vodka. So Grey Goose is good. Sometime, Jay, if you ever see it in a store, you might really like Crater Lake vodka. So Crater Lake vodka is a vodka made here in Oregon. And Crater Lake obviously is a lake here in Oregon. And it's one of the most beautiful lakes ever. It was made by a volcano erupting. So it's one of the few lakes in the world that it doesn't have running water through the lake. It's just a lake by itself that was formed by this volcano. And it's absolutely gorgeous. I think I've talked about it before. It's like so blue. Like you can look at pictures of it online. It looks really awesome, but until you see it in real life, yeah, like you just can't. The pictures don't do it justice, even though the pictures are awesome too. So anyway, there's a guy who I actually used to work with in media. He used to be a media sales rep. When I actually worked for an advertising agency, he was my rep at the TV station. And he sold his house and moved into a trailer so we could start this vodka company that he called Crater Lake Vodka. And we were all, at the time, everyone that worked at the agency were like, this guy's crazy for quitting, you know, selling his house and like investing in this like liquor business. This guy's nuts. And now it's like one of the best, most popular vodkas in Oregon. Like you could probably go to almost any bar in Portland and you could see Crater Lake Vodka. I mean, crazy. So, but that was, you know, back when I had little faith in entrepreneurship, and now I'm a different woman. So, any hoots, yeah, Jay is saying that he's had, there's a Crater Lake hazelnut espresso vodka. I had no idea, but does not sound amazing. I love vodka that has espresso, or any kind of liquor that has espresso flavor to it, because you can just kind of sip it like you're sipping some coffee, like I'm sipping this wine right now. And Sherry's saying she's swam in Crater Lake before. Really? I didn't know you could actually swim in it. You must have gone out on one of the boats, because I don't think you're supposed to swim in it. In fact, because they don't want to dirty up the water, because there's no running water through it. So I think, unless they've changed things, you weren't supposed to swim in it. So, but actually this Christmas, just a few days ago, we were looking back at pictures of us as kids. And we found this picture of us hanging out at Crater Lake. And it reminded me of this time that I literally almost died, because my parents took us, you know, like you see viewpoints and then like they have like a little guardrail. You're not supposed to go past the viewpoint. Well, my parents took me and my sister past the viewpoint to the edge of the lake. And there was this one area where it's like this huge cliff, and there was gravel on the edge, and we were looking on binoculars and taking pictures, and I slipped, and my feet were slipping on the gravel, and my feet went hanging off the edge of this like cliff thing, and I literally almost fell off the edge, and my mom and I were like freaking out, but my dad and my sister didn't even notice. And so it's like this thing that they always make fun of me. They're like, oh yeah, the time that Jen almost died at Crater Lake. I'm like, no, I really almost died. And my mom's like, yeah, really, she almost died. Because it was kind of one of those moments where like, I think that was probably one of my scariest moments, because I literally thought I was going to die and fall off the edge of that cliff, because I was slipping on that gravel like crazy. So good. So great. Jay is saying that Sherry looks so young. I totally agree. You totally look young, Sherry. Maybe it's that vodka that you're drinking of the gods, right? Or maybe vodka of the gods is her, like, I don't know. But anywho, I think I'm out of time. So I so appreciate you guys joining me for this awesome Wednesday wine. The chat makes it so much fun, you guys. And any of you who watch on the replay, feel free to add any of your own stories, as random as they might be. Maybe you have a favorite vodka, a favorite wine, a favorite record, Selena Gomez, any opinions about, you know, she and the Biebs, if you think they should be back together. And if you think she should be writing her own music, I'm just curious what you guys think. Anyway, all kinds of fun topics today. I really, really love you guys. I'm wishing you a happy new year. I won't see you until the new year. Well, unless of course you join my chocolate for breakfast on Saturday. And otherwise, if you're joining me for Wednesday wine, we'll see you next year. All right. Thanks, you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.